Okay guys, this has been widely requested to do an update video on how to go from start to finish of modding Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 Huggy. I'm going to only replace the one Huggy, the main one that comes out of the archway, and in this video, but maybe later on. So I am doing this against my better judgment because when I help people mod, it usually does not, well, it always doesn't benefit me and usually only hurts me. So what we're going to start with is FModel, and you're going to set up FModel to point to your Steam location of the packs directory, which will most likely be something like this. And we're going to go to pack chunk 0 in our FModel. And once you go, okay, of course you're going to have to set up the, I'm not going to tell you about the AES key and all that stuff. I'm going to do a somewhat speedy thing because otherwise I'll be here all day. So if we go here, and one way to find the model that we're going to first modify is look for Huggy underscore rig. You don't even have to spell it all the way out. And as you can see, it is under this long directory. And if you double click it, you will get to here. If you double click that, it should bring it up. I don't know why mine, because I have something changed here and it's just showing the mouth. Anyway, my FModel, who knows if it's even right. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save this. Now, where are you going to want to save it? Well, right now it won't matter too much, but under settings, I haven't done this in years. I have one project and people ask me for my project or for the template to edit a Huggy, and that is impossible because my project has a ton of other stuff in it. And I am not going to give that out, and I'm not going to, so I'm going to show you how to create a project from scratch that will hopefully be vanilla and not have all that stuff in it. So you could save it this way, and once it saves, you can show that in Explorer. So the big setup is now you have that model, which you may already have it, but you have to make sure you get a good clean one as a PSK file. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and go into 4.27 here and create a new project because that's going to be where you're going to have to set some settings so that all this works nice and smooth. That usually takes a little while. So then we're going to say a new project, and we are going to create a blank project. I want it blank, okay? Vanilla. So it's going to be a blank blueprint project, and we're going to create it, and we are going to name it. This is kind of important. You want to go back to here where this is Poppy Playtime, and you're going to want to name it that. Correct? Yes, I think. I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, so we're going to name it that. And shoot, it already exists under here, so I'm going to create a new spot. Why not use my PP1 since it's kind of where I wanted it anyway. All right, so we have this new project starting up, and the first things you're going to want to do are go into the editor preferences and look for chunk. Da-da-ding, da-da-doom. Whoops, I can't spell chunk. I never can. It doesn't have a CK, it's just K. And you want to allow chunk ID assignments. And when you select that, and you're going to want to go to project settings, and then you're going to look for chunk again. Oops. And I'll one day spell it without a CK. I don't know why my hands just always put a C there. You're going to say generate chunks. All right. And then you could tell it to cook everything, which is usually a good idea. But you can usually get away with it if you just put what you want to cook into the map. So we're going to try it that way today. Okay, so now you have this empty project. And we need to get the FBX into here. So the next step you're going to do is go into Blender and point to that directory that your rig went into. So here we have, make sure you have Blender PSK import. You may have to go get that. But you're going to want to go to here. So if you just copy and paste that into the import PSK, because it defaults wherever it defaults, and we're going to bring in Huggy rig PSK. Well, I should have done one other thing. I should have changed this, but I don't think it matters. Do it afterwards. Make this 0.01. Default is always in that. All right, so here's your Huggy. Now, Blender tutorials for doing this, I'm not going to go into that too detailed. So all we're going to do is we're going to make this Huggy just a test. We're going to make him do something weird so that we know that something changed. So to do that, we'll just go ahead and say Object, Edit, grab his head, and I like to go see-through because we're going to grab the top of his head, and we're just going to make his head really tall and ugly. Okay, there we go. We'll be able to tell that that changed. And that's what I want you to do when you start a mod. Before you even worry about trying to weight paint another character on here, auto weight, whatever, just don't even bother, because you won't get it right unless you know that you're changing something in the game. So let's just do it that way. And as you can see, there's a bunch of materials, and we're not going to worry about them too much, except they have to be pointed to in the right spot, especially if they change anything in the game, which they often do. So in this case, I will teach you that as well. But we're going to go ahead and say File, Export this as an FBX, and we might as well put it back where it was, because why not here? All right, so we're going to call it Huggy Rig. Call it exactly the same thing here for the FBX. So if it's capitalized, you make sure it's capitalized. It's very important to get everything case sensitive, and I just said RIP because I can't spell. And then this is the stupidest thing. Unless you want to go change your FBX settings forever, you are always going to have to remember to check off Add Leaf Bones, because it was never meant to be a default in the guy's extension, but it is, and that's bad. And they'll never correct that, it seems. So anyway, they should, because I don't know why you would ever want to default to Add Leaf Bones. Beyond me. So then we have this. Now we're going to go back to here, and as you can see, we don't have the directory structure. Well, what we could have done before we did all that, it's a good idea to turn off this because we don't really need it right now. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to go to here and look for our Huggy Rig FBX. And we're going to drag and drop this into here. It's going to ask us to create a skeleton, all right? So you want to double check that the model that you are trying to change is going to the skeleton and physics assets that you have them linked to in the project. And sometimes that's not the case in this game, but it is so here for the Huggy Rig, so this will be very easy to change. So here we have our deformed Huggy Rig, and it points to the skeleton and this in the proper directory. Now, how are we going to build this so that we can test the mod? Well, fairly easily. We can, I think we're going to have to drag them into the map so that it builds it. Otherwise, we have to say build all assets. Now, what do we want to do? We want to right click on it and say asset actions, assign to chunk. Make this chunk anything other than 0. I like 1. 1's cool. So here we go. Now we're ready to build. And to build, we say File, Package Project, Windows 64-bit. It's going to ask me to save the level because I haven't saved it. Don't worry about it. All right, now where do we want to build it? We're going to build it in the same place, and it's going to create a Windows No Editor directory there. Bop, 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 bop. If all goes well, we will be able to take, it shouldn't take too long, but it probably has to compile shader, so the first time you do anything, it takes a while. All right, that was actually pretty quick because my project is clean. The big project that everybody would want to have takes like 30 minutes on my machine, which is pretty fast. So you don't want to build everything when you have a lot of stuff in a project. So now we need to drag our chunk over here. And the interesting thing is usually you put an _P, which is probably a good idea. So now we have to find where did it build it. Well, we remembered that was under the content directory here, and it's not Poppy Raw. Okay, wrong one, because I changed that. All right, so here we go. Poppy Playtime. And here's our Windows No Editor. We're going to go into here, go into Content, go into Packs, and here we go. Here's our pack chunk. So this is our modified file. Now, if you were to drag and drop that over to your actual game directory, which is over here, all right, then you will see that it just names it pack chunk 1. Sometimes it's okay, but in this game, you're going to want to underscore p it, I'm pretty sure. So all right, now let's go run it and see if anything actually changed. This is always what you do, or always what I do, to make sure that we have something that's going to at least change something in the game. So, number one thing, if you are dragging a file in and you have FModel up and the file's already there, it will not do it properly. So good idea to turn off FModel when doing the actual deployment of the mod. All right, let's go see. Did we do anything? Believe me, it's been years since I did this from start, so likelihood is it did not work, and then I will have to find out what I'm supposed to tell you and actually edit this video, which I don't want to do, because I don't really like editing videos, but there's always something that goes wrong. Let's see, did I get lucky and do it right? All these years of modding. Yes, I did. Okay, so as you can see, we just modded the Huggy. And there you go. I'm going to try to give you some bonus feature. So now the crawl cycle. Next Huggy you have to change. But guess what? You'll have to wait till the next video for that because I'm too long. And if this video gets 200 likes, you'll see that next video.